what are the different parts of the system and what do they do? The guy is asking me. Okay, well, the compressor obviously compresses the R134A, and then the condenser or radiator, you know, cools it off again because it gets really hot and turns it back into a liquid. And then once it comes back over here, it goes in the air dryer. The air dryer is both like an accumulator, which accumulates a volume of liquid and helps keep fluctuations in the system at bay, or, you know, fluctuations in the coolant. It kind of dampers it a little bit, and it also is a dryer. If any moisture gets in the system after you know, charge it up or whatnot, it'll collect it. Typically, you don't have to replace the air dryer every time you service your AC. A lot of shops always do. It's kind of crazy. The only time you need to worry about your air dryer is if it's really old, like mine is. Probably need a new one. You know, I got 700,000 miles roughly on this truck. Or if you open the system up and, like, say you break the line and you lift it open for several hours or a day or two, because air and moisture gets back in here and it collects in this thing. And this thing has, it's similar to, as far as I know, it's similar to like when you open a box for a TV or, you know, a microwave or something. You know, they have that little package of what they call it, silica gel. You know, do not eat. It's similar. It just collects moisture and stuff. So that's what that does. So if you keep, let's say you need to service something, like I'm replacing my compressor on mine. If you can look right here real quick, if you take the lines loose from something, if you just take a thick Ziploc baggie and a zip tie and cover it right away, generally you don't have to replace the air dryer because you're keeping the air from moisture and stuff from getting in the system. But if you're going to leave it exposed for any length of time, yes, you need to replace that thing. You know, it can get expensive. From the air dryer, it goes directly into this expansion valve. The expansion valve helps regulate the pressure from the hot to cold side going into the evaporator, which is the core that makes everything cold, flows through. And it also improves the conversion or the expansion of the coolant. The coolant's liquid when it goes in here, and when it comes out, it expands, and when it expands again, it gets really cold. You know, you're relieving that pressure. So, you know, you have to have something to slow the liquid down as it goes into the evaporator, and that's what this does. From that point, it comes back out. There's also two sensors, and it goes back in the compressor. There's also two sensors here, and one sensor up there. The sensor up here is the high pressure sensor, which we showed before. And what that pressure sensor does is it tells the system, initially when you kick the truck on, you kick the AC circuit on, or you turn your AC on. Initially it tells the truck, the computer tells the, the cabin controller, looks at that sensor and says whether or not you have enough pressure for the system to even kick on. And if it determines there's enough pressure for the system to come on, and these two sensors are not completely shorted out or just disconnected, literally, then the system will come on. The compressor will kick in. This clutch will actually engage on the, this is the pulley. This clutch right here in the front will actually kick in and start spinning with this. So you'll see this part in the face spinning, or you won't see it spinning. If it starts spinning, that means it saw enough pressure in the system to kick on, and it's happy enough with these to run, and it should start getting cold. The small pipe here, if you see it kick on, the small pipe here will get hot, and this one will start getting cold. So you can feel that with your fingers. You got to be careful because this one sometimes gets really hot, so you got to kind of, touch on it. These two sensors right here, they love to go bad on the Prostars. That's 99% of the time what's wrong with these trucks and this particular truck. The cabin controller, the AC, the program that runs the AC in that thing, is horrible. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a horrible program. If it sees anything wrong with these two sensors, or it sees anything wrong with the pressure sensor, it's unhappy for any reason, then it gives a fault, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with an AC system on a truck giving a fault. But the problem is, once it faults, it shuts the system down. It will not recover from that fault until you've taken your truck, pulled it over somewhere, shut the truck off, waited at least 30 seconds, and then started the truck back. Well, you're in Arizona and you're in the desert. This thing, you know, throws a fault because, you know, it's gotten a little too hot, or, you know, it doesn't like the readings on the sensors. You're not going to pull over every 15, 20 minutes to freaking reset your AC. It's going to cook you out of the truck. You know, you're going to suffer. And that's, I think, what a lot of guys and a lot of people hate about this truck, is that it won't reset. You know, if the programmers, in my mind, if the programmers had any decency about them, they would have programmed this thing. If it faulted, throw a fault, yeah, sure. Give it 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and try to reset it and crank it up again. You know, I mean, don't just make the guy suffer the rest of the day, because people aren't going to pull over to reset their AC systems. I know how to get around that, and I'll talk about that later. I know how to circumvent that problem a little bit. Some other driver showed me that a while back. But that's basically what it does and why everybody hates this system. Now, I can tell you this. Every time I've had problems with mine, now this one's got 700,000 miles on it now. Compressor's finally worn out. It still kind of gets cold, but not very well. The hoses vibrate real bad when the compressor kicks in. I know the compressor's shot. That's how I knew my compressor's bad, but you know, sometimes you can't tell. So one of the things you can do if your AC's shutting down is first check these sensors. You know, they're just little sensors. I don't know if you want to zoom in here a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, they're little sensors. You can take a wrench and unscrew them now, and you can take them off and you can check them with a meter. Let me zoom back out.
Okay.
See, I got a little voltmeter here. You put it on ohms, which is that symbol. You know, you put it on like 0 to 20K or something. You're supposed to read, these two sensors are identical, okay? You're supposed to read the same on either one of those sensors. And it's roughly about 5,000 ohms. You know, you take the sensor, I don't know if you want to come in on this a little bit.
Okay.
You take the sensor, you take your meter leads, you get on one on each side of those little pins in there, one on that side, one on that side, and you check the resistance, okay? And you check to see what the resistance is, okay? It should be, you know, like today it's 3,000 ohms, 5,000 ohms. You know, it should be a few thousand ohms, 10,000 maybe at the most. And it's going to vary according to temperature. You know, the temperature outside. This is what it's going to do. Lower in temperature or higher in temperature when the temperature changes, or they read a different value. That's how the computer reads it. If you get like 500 ohms, it's fried. You get like 30 ohms, it's fried. You know, mine, I just changed mine not too long ago, and my system kept faulting, and then I would reset it, because I know that trick to reset it and going down the road. And they kept faulting out. When I changed these two sensors, boom, it worked like a dream again. Everything got nice and cold. It just worked fantastic until my compressor obviously is starting to go on me now, and it's not getting very cold anymore, although it still functions.